car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
And just in case you didn't know it, the following program is paid for by the sponsor, which happens to be Frontier Motors. And the owner of Frontier Motors sitting here ready, willing, and more than able to take any questions from you. If you want to get the price of a car or a truck or an SUV you were thinking of buying or selling or trading in, give us a call. For the next 30 minutes, we will let you talk live with Ivan Struckle at 478-3116. He, the owner of Frontier Motors. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don. Thanks for the introduction. We're also videotaping this for our Blab TV customers. So if you're watching this on TV, this is probably not going to be a live show because we record the show in the morning and then we air it on satellite and cable during the day and usually at night. So this is the Frontier Motors Show. We're going to be talking cars for the next half hour. One of the things we're going to helping people with in the Pensacola area is what is your car worth, which might not be important right now, but if you get into a major accident and your car gets totaled, it sure would be helpful to know what your car would be worth. And before you settle with the insurance company, you might want to call Frontier Motors and have one of our managers pull up the vehicle for you that you're driving. If you have the ID number handy, it helps decode the vehicle where we can give you a better idea of what the value is. And there's a couple different ways that we get values. One of them, one of the books that we use is the NADA guidebook. And the NADA guidebook is not the same as the one on the internet. When you Google used car prices on the internet, you're going to find a Kelley Blue Book, you're going to find an Edmunds book, and you're going to find another version of the NADA. Now, the reason we use the official NADA guidebook is because that's what our credit unions and our bankers and a lot of our insurance companies are in our area use. So this is a very important book that you need to make sure you find out the values. The other book that we use is the Black Wholesale Guidebook. The Wholesale Guidebook is the book that they compile all the data from the auctions into a book. And of course, nowadays we get that online. I'm holding this book up so you can visually see it if you're watching TV, but I don't even subscribe to the book anymore. Everything is done digitally these days, so we get it on the phone and we get it on the computer. And we also, and some people don't know this, but every car has a bar scan, just like a grocery store scanner. And we scan the barcode of the car, so when you pull into the dealership, we scan, and or if you call the dealership and you give us the ID number, basically the same thing. And the ID number, every letter and number stands for something. One of them is where the vehicle was built. The other one is what motor the vehicle has. Lots of different information, what model the vehicle has. So a lot of information we get off the ID number. And then what we do is we use that ID number, put it in the computer, and it not only tells me what the average selling price is, but it'll also give me comparables. Now, the reason comparables are important is because a lot of insurance companies are not using the NADA guidebook like they used to. They're using kind of a combination of the NADA and also comps. Now, what I mean by comps is that sometimes they will try to find vehicles like the one you have, maybe the one that's been totaled, at a low price. And I have that same type of comp program on my computer where I can also give you higher comps. Obviously, the insurance company is going to want to settle for as little as possible. And of course, your job is to try to get as much money as possible so you can hopefully walk back into Frontier Motors and replace that car for the dollar amount that I'm giving you, and hopefully including taxes and everything, taxes and title and tag work and everything like that. The other thing that will help you with at Frontier Motors when it comes to pricing is what should your car sell for if you decide to sell it yourself. So let's say you're going to go maybe do the Dave Ramsey thing for you're going from a 3-car family to a 2-car family, or maybe 2-car to 1-car. Or heck, I know some friends that have moved downtown and they're bicycling it. They don't have any car. They don't need a car anymore. So they're selling their car, and you don't want to use just a book for that. You want to have someone that's in the business, like Frontier Motors, kind of guide you as far as what that car is going to sell for in the real world, not in the book value world. Sometimes the book values are highly exaggerated, and every once in a while, they're very low compared to what the market's going for. So that's why you want to get our expertise, because we appraise cars from morning to night. Even on Sundays and Saturdays, I'm appraising cars for private individuals that email me, and so I'll do an appraisal even on a Sunday. The other thing that's also we can help you with if you stop in at the dealership is I can give you a buy value on that car. Not just say, here's what you could sell that car for. I believe you can get, let's just use an example. If I tell you that we feel you can get $20,000 for your car, and the next question might be, well, what would you guys buy it for? So I'll do a little bit of research and say, well, here, I'll give you a check for, let's just use an example of $18,000. So the question that you say, if you felt that you could get the 20 for it, do you want to take the time and the effort and have people come over to the house and test drive your car for that extra $2,000? And some people said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll take my chance. And other people said, hey, I'll just take the $18,000. Or one other thing we can do is let's split the difference and do a consignment. Now, the way a consignment works is obviously you're going to have to drop the car off, but I sell it for you. And if I don't have to pay for it up front, I will give you more money because I don't have to tie up my cash. So in this particular example, the consignment figure might be $19,000. So it's right in the middle. It's not $20,000 because that's what I'm going to try to sell it for, whether you sell it or a dealership sells it. We don't get more money just because we happen to be a dealership. It's whatever the market will bear. So and what else can we do for you at Frontier Motors other than sell cars? Well, another thing we can do is if you are buying a car from a private individual or maybe another dealership that doesn't pay for Carfax reports, do not pay for a Carfax report or any type of history report, you call Frontier Motors and we do it at no charge. We run the Carfax report. Most people know what Carfax is. It's the largest provider of history reports in the nation. The second largest provider is AutoCheck. We subscribe to both of these. So we run these for private individuals, even if they're buying a car from other dealerships, because some dealerships will have a link to the Carfax report. I saw this the other day, and I was actually kind of shocked because it was a local dealer. I was on their website. I was looking for a particular car. They had the car. This was a franchise dealership, so it was a new car dealership. I was looking at their used car lot, and it said Carfax report. So I clicked on it, and they wanted $40. I was kind of shocked. Now, at Frontier Motors, we're a used car lot. We do it at no charge. You click on our website and it has a link to Carfax. You get the Carfax report at no charge. Well, they didn't want to pay for it. A little bit cheap that way. So what do? You call Frontier Motors. Now, here's what we can do for you. Now, the reason we provide the service, because obviously it helps both of us. It helps you to make sure that you know that's got a clean history report without paying. It helps us because what if I have a twin to that car in stock? So if you're calling, for example, I've got 2017 Sentra. Let's say somebody totaled your 2017 Sentra. I tell you what it's worth, and now you're looking for that particular car. You want to know how much it is, or maybe you found it on another car lot, and I've got mine on the lot. And I'm asking, I mentioned Dave Ramsey before because Dave Ramsey is the money guru, and he's the one who tells you that if you're going to buy a vehicle, buy a used vehicle. And it's really a feather in our cap that he endorses Frontier Motors. He's the only dealership in Pensacola that he endorses is Frontier. He does not endorse new car dealers. Obviously, his whole claim to fame is to figure out how to, I don't want to say get yourself rich quick, but that's not his deal. But it's maybe save money, get out of debt, and save for retirement. And one way to do that is don't buy a brand new car. But he says it best in his own words.
Hey, Dave Ramsey here. Whether you're on baby step 1 or baby step 7, my advice when it comes to buying a car has been the same. Don't buy new. Consumer Reports last year put into writing that a new car depreciates 27% in the first 12 months. On an average price $34,000 new car, that's roughly a $9,200 loss in the first year alone. Here's what you should do instead. Go see my friends at Frontier Motors. They specialize in great used cars that still look and smell like new. Frontier Motors offers over 400 of these vehicles in stock in one location. What sets these guys apart from a regular car dealership is that they make the hated process of buying a car a stress-free experience. They're one of the few dealers that will give you a bottom line out-the-door price in writing. It's not very easy finding an honest car dealer, but I know you'll be treated right when you shop at Frontier Motors. Tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Thanks, Dave. That was a great testimonial. And I've got this thing, this article that was in the NI80 guide, which is the National Dealers Association, and they had an article on consumers dislike the dealership experience. That almost 90% of American consumers dislike something about the process of purchasing a vehicle at a car dealership. according to a recent survey they just conducted of 2,100 adults. It said millennials in particular expressed their disdain for dealership experience, with 56% saying they'd rather clean their homes and 34% saying they'd rather wait in line at the DMV than visit a dealership. Nearly a quarter of respondents from Generation X, which is ages 35 to 44, say they'd rather get a root canal than negotiate with a car dealership. I think that's hilarious, and that's really interesting. And 21 years ago when we started Frontier Motors, what I want to do is take that dealership experience and change it around and not ask stupid questions. And most people that have gone out in the shopping car world know what I'm talking about when I talk about stupid questions. Like questions like, well, what would you want for your car? I mean, I'd like $150,000 for my $200 car.
What's it going to take to put you in this car?
What's it going to take? You hit it right in the head, Don. What's it going to take to put you in this car? What if I do this? Would you buy it today? All these things are geared into you getting to buy a car today. And that's why people are apprehensive about going on a car lot, because they don't want to make that decision. A lot of people just want to get the information they want, maybe test drive a car, and then go home and digest that information. So we took the stress out of going to a used car dealer. And when you come to Frontier Motors, our salespeople unlock every single car. We have almost 400 cars in inventory. So it takes about 45 minutes for them, and we've got 12 salespeople that unlock every single car, and we print a price list that looks similar to this that we can give a customer. And the reason we do this is because we know that some people would rather shop by themselves than have a salesman go with them. Now, that's about, I'd say, 25%. The other 75% want the help of a salesperson. One reason is because they're on a time constraint and they're looking for a particular car, and they don't really feel like looking through 400 cars to get to that one they're looking for. So if I have a customer come in and says, I'm looking for a Honda Odyssey, well, get with a salesperson because he knows every Odyssey that we have, where they're parked. He can get the keys even though they're unlocked, and so make it much simpler for you. But then you have those other people that say, well, I'd rather just shop for myself, and then if I need your help, I'll come and get you. So we give you a list that gives you the mileage, because most cars have a digital odometer, so you don't know how many miles are on the car. So if you're looking for a car under 20,000 miles, we give you a list that gives you the mileage of the car, the equipment, because sometimes you can't tell the equipment that's on the car by just looking at the car, whether it has heated seats or cooled seats or electric start or navigation. So we give you a list of the equipment that's on the car. And we also give you our discounted internet price. Now, every once in a while, I might have some extra negotiating power. So the salesman, if he says, if you see a car that you like on there, make sure that you look at the price that we have. And then before you leave, see me, and I will give you an out-the-door price, just like Dave Ramsey just said. The reason that I feel that's very, very important, because dealers charge different fees. You're going to find that out from dealer to dealer. So, and I don't care if one dealer charges different fees or more fees than another. What I do care about is if they don't disclose that, and they tell you, well, my car's got a sale price of $21,500, and they don't give you an out-the-door figure, because some dealers can charge up to $1,000 extra in fees versus another dealer. So always get an out-the-door price. That includes all those fees, includes the taxes. If you have a trade-in, have them put the trade value down. If you have a payout before you go car shopping, call your bank and ask them for a 14-day payoff. So you can use that payoff and give it to every dealership so if they can add. So if you owe $20,000 and your trade-in is $21,000, they'll add that in. So you have one figure to deal with. Now, the reason this is very important when you go car shopping, because it's so much easier to compare apples to apples if you have the out-the-door figure. And I'll give you an example. If I'm talking about my Sentra at $16,500, let's say I tell you the out-the-door, I'm just going to round this off. Let's say I tell you the out-the-door figure on my 400-mile Sentra is $18,000. Isn't that kind of easy to remember? So then you go to the new car dealer, which just happens to be Sandy Sansing Nissan, and they're here on 29. I always urge you to buy from our local dealership. It's the only Nissan dealership in town. So you go there, and let's say they have a brand new, mine's a 17. Let's say they have a brand new 18 on the lot, and nothing's changed. Just the same body style, nothing else. And their out-the-door figure is $23,000. I'm just using this hypothetical. Mine's $18,000, theirs is $23,000. So you make a decision, is $5,000 enough to buy one with 400 miles on? Even if it's only $2,000 difference. I had somebody buy a Corolla. This was 3 months ago. They came in and bought a brand new Corolla for me. Now, I don't sell brand new cars. When I say brand new, the mileage was about 30 miles on this car. But of course, I sold it as a used car because Bob Tyler is the local Toyota dealership. He get pretty ticked off at me if I was selling brand new Toyotas. So I sell used Toyotas. But the gentleman that came in did not have a trade-in. It was a very simple deal. And my difference, I believe, was about $2,500. That's not that much. But my customer said, hey, I like the color on yours better than what they had in inventory. They happened to be the same years. They were both 2017 models. Mine had, like I said, maybe 30 or 40 miles on it. They were looking at a brand new one that had the same miles on it. So he said, hey, for $2,500, I'll take the one that's slightly used. And then years ago, this was probably 5 years ago, I remember the gentleman that came in looking at one of our Lexus products. We had an LS460, which is their one of their most expensive cars. It was about a $70,000 car. I gave him the bottom line of the one that we had. We had one in stock with 3,000 miles on. We called him back a couple of days later, and he bought a brand new one. I said, oh, yeah? Yeah, I bought a brand new one. It was only $10,000 more. So everybody has their own idea of what savings are. One gentleman said $2,500 is enough for me. The other person said $10,000 wasn't enough for me, which I thought was absolutely crazy. And it was the color he liked. It was pearl white. He wanted a pearl white. Well, he went and bought a pearl white one. Same year car. I had 3,000 miles on. He was saving $10,000. He didn't care. He would buy the brand new one. So everybody's got their own idea of what a good deal is. And the extreme example of a good deal, I used this a couple of weeks ago. The car is still available at the Orlando auction, and it was a Maserati, four-door Maserati, and they had a little asterisk. The dealer was selling it at the auction. It had, I think, 30 miles on it. It was a $127,000 window sticker. They had the window sticker still in the car. And I could buy it at the auction. They had a buy it now price on my screen for $77,000. Folks, can you imagine if you bought that car brand new? We're talking about a depreciation of $50,000. Even if I marked that car up $5,000, which wouldn't be doing you guys any favors, be doing me a big favor, giving me $5,000 profit, which is well above the national average, by the way. But you'd still save $45,000 on a car that's got 30 miles on it. Matter of fact, that car's still available. I'm almost thinking about buying it and just driving it down. How can you lose money on that? I mean, isn't that crazy? It's a $127,000 car that I can buy for $77,000. I would think I should be able to drive that car for 3 or 4 months. And even if I put 1,000 miles on it,
right,
I should be able to sell it for 70. I might not make any money because it depreciates on a monthly basis. Man, now that's an extreme example. That's an extreme example. We don't save that much money on everything. Let's talk about the car business a little bit. I'm talking about Frontier Motors and how great we are. You know, probably boring everybody to death out there. We did talk about a little bit about some of the things that we offer. We talked about free Carfax reports. We talked about free appraisals. We talked about that we'll buy your car. I might have mentioned that. I'm not sure, but we would love to buy a car from a private individual. I had mentioned that we do buy cars at auction, but I have to pay the buyer that drives to the auction. I don't buy them online, even though I can. The reason I don't buy them online is because you can't smell them online. That Maserati, even though it's brand new, what if it's got a bad smoker smell? Or what if something died in the car and it smells awful? Well, you can't tell that by looking at a screen. So I send my buyers down there. Well, they charge $300 for that. And then I also have to pay the auction fee to buy it. And I also have to pay it to get it transported back home. So I'd rather buy it from a private individual that lives in Pensacola. So if you've got a car for sale, sometimes you will be pleasantly surprised at the dollar amount that you might get because people are so in tune to getting ripped off by car dealerships. So you got a $20,000 car for sale. You're thinking, I'm going to offer you $12,000 for that car. You'll be pleasantly surprised that if it's a $20,000 car, I might offer you $19,000 for that car. And now you say, heck, you know what? For $19,000, I'm done. I'll take my tag off. I'll cancel the insurance, and maybe I'll take that $19,000 if it's paid for, and I'll invest it in the stock market. And hopefully, in a couple of months, I'll have the $20,000, and you don't lose money. And everybody knows that, like Dave Ramsey said, that a car is a depreciating asset. The Consumer's Report says that a brand new car in 1 year depreciates $9,200. Can you imagine that? If you think about buying a brand new car, and yet say change your mind in a year, you trade it at the car dealership, no matter who it is, the average depreciation is $9,200. Now, if I'm buying that car $9,200 less, even if I marked up $3,000, you're still saving $6,200 plus the taxes on $6,200, and I'm making $3,000. If I mark it up $2,000, you're saving $7,200. The tax on $7,200 around $600 or $700. So let's just round it off. You're going to save about $8,000 on the average. Some cars more than others. Maserati, we're talking about $50,000. Toyota Corolla, maybe $2,500. The number one selling vehicle in the nation last year was an F-150. I was going to ask Don this, but I don't need to because I've been doing this for 20 years. And he knows all the answers, right, Don?
Oh, I do.
You remember number two?
F-150. Oh, no, Dodge, Silverado.
Sorry, banged the
Number
banged the
3.
door. What's number 3?
Ram.
Yeah. See, Don's got
What's
this down.
number 1?
Just last month alone. Well, let's use last year. F-150, 897,000 F-150s. 585,000 Chevy Silverados, 500,000 Ram pickup trucks. First year they cracked. The year before was 380.
Right.
Last year, 500,000. Ram is doing something right. Just so you know, folks, it's not a Dodge Ram anymore.
Ram.
Just a Ram. Kind of stupid, but that's the way it is. So the Ram pickup truck is making a comeback. And you know what? I know why. I drove a Ram. I drove a 2018 Ram a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is really, it drives like a Cadillac. It's got leg room for a 7-footer. It's unbelievably quiet. And they're less expensive than the Chevy and the Ford
Wow.
by a couple of $1,000s. They still don't have the resale value that the Chevy and Ford has. So when you're buying them 1 year old, you actually get a better deal on a Ram truck because I can buy it for less money. So number 4 was an SUV. It was a RAV4. They sold 407,000 SUV. And the number 5, first time ever, the Nissan Rogue sold 403,000 Nissan Rogues. Folks, if you're looking at a small SUV and you're thinking Honda and Toyota, check out the Nissan. Really cool, good-looking vehicle, selling like hotcakes. The first car to make the top 10 was a Toyota Camry. Toyota Camry years ago was the number 1 selling vehicle. Years and years ago when we first started doing the show, Don, that was 21 years ago. The Camry beat the F-150. But in the last 10 years, it's always been the F-150. And the Camry right now is the number 1 car, but quite a bit behind the Ford with 387,000 sales. The CR-V's 377, the Honda Civic 377,000, the Corolla 329, and the Accord. It's interesting that the top vehicles, every single top vehicle, not trucks, but vehicle, is an import. It's either a Honda, Toyota. Which also leads me into
Well, it leads me to say if we would import one of your phone calls if you want to give us a call, but you better get on with it. We got about 6 minutes left in today's show. This is the Frontier Motor Show on News Talk 1370 WCOA. Want to get the price of a car, truck, or SUV? Call us, 478-3116, but get on with it, Ivan.
Every once in a while, we get customers that come in and they know what they want. Usually they don't. But every once in a while, we had a customer come in last week, and she wanted a Chrysler 200. And it's really interesting because the Chrysler 200 is not that good of a rated vehicle. They're not awful, but they're not really good. The Camry and the Honda Accord and the Altima are all rated higher, and that is a comparable vehicle. I didn't really have the vehicle that she wanted in stock. I did have 1 or 2, but they weren't as new as what she wanted. So, of course, what we would do to a customer, because I think the census, when I say census, statistics say that 78% of the people buy something different than they set up to buy. So we always, as sales representative, have to show you the alternative. So in this case, I showed her all the alternatives. She says, Sonny, not to me, but the salesman, Sonny, didn't you hear what I said? I want a Chrysler 200. I don't want no Camry. I don't want no Altima. I don't want no this. I don't care about the ratings. That's the car that I want.
That's pretty definite.
But Don, the cool thing is, we sell them all.
Yeah.
You know, we sell every one. And a lot of times we have customers come in and said, I really want a Honda Accord. Well, guess what? I have Honda Accords. But while you're at the dealership, you might want to look at a Camry, because what happens a lot of times, people set out to buy one vehicle. I've had this over and over. And the statistic proves it, that a lot of people think they know what they want until they sit in something else. And the cool thing about Frontier Motors is like going to a car show, because we have every make and model. So you come in, you're looking for a smaller SUV, and we'll use that as an example. So we had the Toyota RAV4, we had the Honda CR-V, we had the Nissan Rogue, we had the Kia Sorento, we had the Hyundai Santa Fe and the Hyundai Tucson. We've got the Infiniti product, we've got the Lexus. We got them all lined up, a Ford Escape, Chevy Equinox, the GMC Terrain. So they're all lined up, they're all unlocked. And other than the looks of the vehicle, the other two things that are important to most customers, number one, is how does the vehicle feel when you slip behind the wheel? What is the blind spot? What is the visibility? How do you sit in the seat? Can you reach the pedals? Can you put the seat back far enough if you're very tall? How does the steering wheel fit? Those are all things that are very important. And then, of course, the next thing you're going to ask about would be the price. How does the price fit in the gap? Well, we already give you a price list, so you already know if the vehicle is going to fit into your price range. So if you're coming in wanting to spend $20,000 on an SUV, we're going to give you all the lists of the cars that we have that are $20,000 that we have in stock. So we make it really easy, and we don't have to sell you into a product because we sell them all. Now, when you go to the Toyota dealership, they're going to tell you why that Toyota RAV4 is the number one small SUV in the whole wide world. And then the Honda dealership is going to tell you the CRV. And, of course, the Hyundai dealership is going to tell you why the Tucson or the Santa Fe, which have a better warranty, have better reputation, believe it or not, than the Honda even, would be the vehicle to get. And at Frontier Motors, we don't care. We just want you to buy any one of those, and we have them all. So therefore, the pressure comes off of us having to sell you something. What we do is we give you an out-the-door price. We appraise your car. If you have a car to trade, we'll give you an out-the-door price with that vehicle in trade. We'll circle that price, and we'll tell you, go think about it. Unheard of in the car business. Most of the dealerships all do this. What's it going to take? What if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? Now, of course, we'd love you to buy a car today, but we want you to buy a car when you want to buy it, not when we want to buy it. So we go through the process for you, and we do this very quickly so you don't have to spend 4 hours in a car dealership. You should be able to look and see what you're looking for in a short period of time. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so I want to let you know that we got a great website. So if you're curious about Frontier Motors, if you go on the website, just Google Frontier Motors, you're going to see almost 400 cars in inventory. They have between 21 and 50 detailed photographs. They all have prices in there. You get our sales staff. Maybe if you dealt with us before and you forget who you dealt with, you can pull up our people, and then we've got pictures of everybody on there. We're open till 6 o'clock at night during the week and 4 o'clock on Saturdays. Of course, we're closed on Sunday and all holidays. But we are the go-to dealership for free advice. That's really our claim to fame. It's not so much selling cars. That just comes naturally. When we come from Frontier Motors, you meet our sales reps, and you find out how nice they are and how unpushy they are, and the fact that they're willing to answer all of your questions right up front and not ask stupid questions. It just compels you into making a decision, even though you might not want to right then and there. And one of the things that we love to do is make sure that we give you that out-the-door price and say, why don't you think about it for a little while? And, people sit back and they say, I don't really need to think about it. I love this place. I like the person I'm dealing with. I like the price, and we have the price driver, so we'll tell you what every other dealership is asking for that same car. And it makes you feel a little better if you know what the competition's asking for the car, that the price we're giving you is either going to be the best price or it's going to be the best car. And that's the only thing that's important. It's not always about the price. It's who's got the best vehicle and the best condition. That's Frontier Motors, 230 Beverly Parkway. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead country.